So it's not for kids.
You're talking about Japan.
I talk about Japan a lot.
Like, how many nights do you end up there?
So this will be my fifth trip in the last 2.5 years. I go for 2 weeks. I'll pick somewhere for the first week that I haven't been before. My last trip was Nagasaki and Hiroshima. This trip I'm going to Hokkaido. And then I'll spend a week in Tokyo. And I'll put Game Market right in the middle of that week. So I have a few days before Game Market when I can kind of wander around and do my sightseeing or whatever. And then Game Market, I go on the Saturday. And then I usually, Sunday is also Game Market, but I usually got everything done the first day. So I have Sunday to do other stuff. And then the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday after, I usually spent meeting up with Japanese friends, other designers typically, and playing games that we bought at Game Market, which is a really cool way to kind of end the trip.
That sounds so good, yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like a great time, and it sounds like it makes a lot of sense that you end up exhausted at the end.
Yeah, it's a lot, especially in my daily life. I barely ever leave my house. So it's like I'm a hermit, except I go to Japan twice a year for a couple weeks at a time.
It's like you're charging the energy. Like the rest of us are moving around and you're just and then
I just spend 6 months recharging between Japan visits.
I was going to make a Jekyll and Hyde comparison instead, or just you go full Hyde out there in Japan.
I don't know about that. I'm very respectful tourist. Yeah. I don't know about Hyde. It's more like I'm Hyde at home and I go full Jekyll once I'm in Japan.
I see.
Very considerate and polite. You don't want to upset folks.
We went to visit family a year ago and they weren't issuing the Suica cards anymore. Mm-hmm. And that was absolute hell. I assume you have one from before all that.
I have a Passmo card that I got a couple years ago. But people, I show it to folks, especially Japanese folks, and they're really surprised that I got it. I do a lot of walking too. If it's less than a 20-minute subway ride, less than a 20-minute walk, I'll just walk. Tokyo is so accessible. And I live in New York City, so I'm used to walking everywhere anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Tonight's a big night for New York City, speaking of which.
Yes, it is. A big relief.
Crossing our fingers.
Big relief for social media platforms as well, I'm sure.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we're recording this on the 4th, by the way, listeners.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel Newman.
That's me.
Who are you?
Who am I? That is such a deep question. I didn't realize we were going to go so deep so fast. So I am a game designer and publisher and importer and exporter out of Brooklyn, New York. I run New Mill Industries. We focus pretty much on trick-taking games and climbing shedding games. I also go to Japan twice a year and bring back stuff from Tokyo Game Market to sell. And I started the Indie Games Night Market that our first ever one was last year at PAX Unplugged, and we're doing it for the second time in just a couple weeks at PAX Unplugged once again, which is pretty exciting. So yeah, I do a fair bit in the indie design space, especially around card games, typically lately.
Yeah, you've been doing a lot of great things for the board game community as a whole.
Thank you.
Just very creative things that definitely follow an aesthetic that I would say is on brand with our show too.
Oh, right on. I mean, so when we started New Mill, it was me and Tony Miller, New Mill, if that hadn't been put together.
Newman.
Yeah.
Sorry.
During the pandemic lockdowns. I'm just going to go right past that Seinfeld reference.
Okay.
But it was during the pandemic lockdowns, Tony and I, who we mostly know each other from conventions, were just kind of fiending for that kind of shared experience and feeling connected to the board game community. And we had the idea to start this little publishing thing, and we're trying to figure out the easiest way to do it without dealing with there was a shipping crisis at the time, and a lot of board game publishers were having trouble because stuff was just getting stuck in China.
Is that the Baltimore Bridge one or a different one?
No, I think it was just a bigger issue industry-wide where everything was having trouble. And all of a sudden, shipping containers were charging 10 times as much. Places were shut down. It was the middle of lockdowns and everything. So the world was kind of on fire. And we started out with games that he and I had designed that, we'd pitch to publishers and they were often kind of like, wow, we think this is really cool, but like, I don't know that we could sell it. Like it doesn't really fit with what else we're doing. So he was like, well, if we try to make these ourselves, and like we tried to find manufacturers that we could put together like piecemeal and small run. We actually did our first Kickstarter 5 years ago last month, which was a pretty cool milestone that we just passed. Yeah, and then from then we did a couple other friends games and made some changes to how we were doing things. And once the world kind of opened up, started using this factory in China that does really high quality, low number print runs. And then a couple years ago, I kind of latched onto these like Japanese trick takers and discovered this whole world of games and just shifted to make that my focus, because it was kind of a captured audience to some extent, and a hunger for some of these games that had gone out of print in Japan. They're really hard to get.
I know some of it is just you being really familiar with the games and being like, "Ooh, I would love to see this one in the US," kind of thing. Yeah,
a lot of it early on was more recommendations that I was getting as I was kind of working my way into that community. They're like, "Oh, this like we wish this game was available," or somebody would be like, "You should check this one out," and like me kind of hunting those down was a big part of it.
Well, you definitely have an eye for them, because like there are some that were big in Japan and just never made it to the States, but there are some where you were just like, oh, I think this would go well in the US. And then they kind of like, boom, like at least it resonated with your audience. So I thought
for sure. And I feel like I built up a bit of trust with my audience that like they know that I'll find some cool stuff to bring, which has been really rewarding. At
some point we'll introduce the show, but another real quick question. we always do this, don't worry.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, exactly. The listeners are used to it by now.
Gachapon Trick, because you designed that. Plate just picked it up.
Yes.
Is the marketing image where there's a coin going into the box, is that a bit, or does it legitimately have a hole in it?
It legitimately has a coin slot and comes with coins that you put into the box. Yeah, amazing. Cool. I'm so excited. I'm really hoping I can. I'm hoping they're supposed to have it at Tokyo Game Market, and I'm really hoping I can come home with a copy of it.
That's such a nice little cosmetic bit.
Yeah, and it's not something that I would be able to do with the way I produce things. And so it's really exciting to see somebody else kind of going ham on it.
Well, with that, welcome to Shelf Stable, a podcast celebrating board games that have stood the test of time. I'm your host, Kenny Katayama.
And I'm the other host, Tom Bowers. Today, our feature topic is Everything is Trick-Taking, with special guest Daniel Newman. But before we talk about that, let's just talk about some of the stuff we've been playing recently.
I love that your one contribution, Tom, during the first bit was doing a very generic Seinfeld joke that Daniel's probably heard before.
For some reason, it escaped my mind that you were talking about yourself, presumably, and I thought you were talking about someone else who was also named Newman. But
I mean, there's a lot of Newmans in the world, but no, I was talking about myself. Yeah.
I do love the idea that it was Daniel Newman and Tony Newman started the company, and then you just added Mill in there for some reason. Okay, we love to do this thing on the show. We've brought up a few scoops on you here. Nothing crazy, but your background as an architect, do you find that it impacts the way that you approach prototyping?
Oh, yeah. Well, I have a degree in architecture. I have a master's degree in architecture. I didn't take the qualification exams. I'm not a licensed architect. But I did get really into model making and architectural model making specifically, and worked as an architectural model maker for 10 years on and off. And so, it absolutely impacts my approach to prototyping. Graphic design classes I took in art school as well. I can't make a really ugly prototype. I'm just not, I don't allow myself to do it. So even first prototypes look like 80% done. So
what's something that from your background knowledge you feel like you've applied?
Probably the biggest thing is 3D modeling. Before I started doing exclusively card games, I was making these Euros that had these 3D printed pieces that sort marbles or distribute cubes, and I was really trying to play around with gadgetry in games for that kind of toy factor. And those are skills I 100% picked up in architecture school. The biggest thing that I bring from architecture and art school is the ability to give and receive criticism. in a constructive way, because you're constantly showing your work and having to not necessarily defend it, but be able to take criticism, explain what you're doing, why you did it, and then be able to handle people's comments.
You might be one of the best qualified people to talk to this then, which is I think about architecture in city building games in particular. Have you ever come across one that you felt had like it created a nice cityscape, like architecturally, or like had like that dimensionality to it? There's a lot of decent city builders, but there's like never something where like you finish it and you can like you see a skyline that is like, very unique.
Yeah. Gil Hova's High Rise did some cool things with heights of buildings, which I think is getting a new release. It sounds like Allplay is doing a version of it soon, which is super cool. So that hopefully that'll be available again very soon. I hope that I didn't just give a secret away. I'm pretty sure that was announced at some point. Especially, I helped play test it, so I saw it a lot, and I helped Gil with some early 3D printing for the building pieces, which he then scrapped and got Quadchai Moria to do some really pretty punchboard, which actually I think helped the game visually in terms of giving you that skyline effect.
It looks like there's a 2025 edition listed on BGG, so I think we're in the clear.
Yeah. When Gil first, I used to play test with Gil all the time because he's fairly local to me. And the first prototype he brought out, the graphic design was so upsetting to me that I forced him to send me the files and allow me to redo it for him. I was like, I can't play this. You need to let me fix this.
Right.
So I love to brag about that. But the final is really nice. I had nothing to do with the final graphics.
You did a good job, I guess, pointing him in the right direction, but I see what you're saying.
Have your cookies stabilized, or does Paramount Plus still think you're an old lady?
I still get ads for Skyrizzy and Rinvoke all the time.
Skyrizzy the elf.
But I do not have psoriatic arthritis, nor do I have Crohn's disease. So I'm not sure why those are the only ads I get. But yeah, wow, that was a deep cut.
We have a running gag with one of our friends that every medicine ad is a different Tolkien elf.
That's great.
And Skyrizzy is one of their lead archers.
Amazing. I listened to a podcast recently that talked about what goes into the naming of those. And there's actually there's method to that madness of how those pharmaceuticals get named.
Oh, really?
Which is pretty cool. Yeah. I think it was Decoder Ring, probably. Yeah, it's a good one.
Okay. Do you remember the Trivial Pursuit question that allowed you to stay up after bedtime?
Did it have to do with, oh man, was it the Wizard of Oz? Something with the Wizard of Oz? Asking me my own trivia questions. This is brutal. So that or my E.T., maybe it was E.T., it was the first thing that popped in my head. That might be it.
To be clear, I don't know the answer.
You don't know the answer.
I know where this comes from, though, because I saw in an interview you taled about this, that one of your earliest board gaming memories was that your parents.
Yeah, it was playing Trivial Pursuit. Okay. So it was just So I didn't actually disclose what it was. I thought you were quizzing me if I could remember. That
I talked to your parents and they told me.
Yeah. Well, I could remember if I had said it on a tweet or something. Okay. No, I don't remember. It was definitely it was a movie thing. It might have been E.T. It might have been something with the Wizard of Oz. But my parents were playing Trivial Pursuit, and I kind of got out of bed and snuck in. And they told me to go to bed, and I was like, I don't want to. And then what question I got asked, and I answered it. They're like, okay, I guess you stay up for a while. But
yeah, nice.
You use your brains, you use your trivia knowledge to stay up.
Exactly.
Later.
Exactly. I still do it now, every Wednesday.
Oh, you still do trivia? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Every Wednesday I've got a group that I hang out with.
Tom is big on trivia.
I like trivia. I don't have a regular trivia night yet, unfortunately. But I've my family in particular, my dad can kind of crush the competition pretty easily, and then I just fill in the weird niche subculture gaps.
You do the random when there's a brain rot question, you're like, allow me to chime in.
Yeah, exactly. When they start asking about the Rizzler, then that's when I
tapped on. I was gonna say I did competitive trivia we called Scholar Bowl in high school. It's also called Knowledge Bowl or Academic Bowl or whatever. But yeah, so I have all this stupid, useless knowledge just trapped in my head that we'll be at trivia and they'll ask a question. I'll just write the answer down and realize that I should check to make sure this is right. But if my instinct tells me to write it, it's probably correct. Just because like you drill so that you have these really fast responses, because we would buzz in and you would need to be faster than the other team.
What does a trivia drill look like? I've always been curious about like the meta of like getting better at trivia.
We had lists to memorize, and then we would just do like practice rounds after school.
Do you do specific subjects, or like how do you get assigned your list?
There'd just be the guy who ran it was like the English teacher for like sophomores or something, and he also taught German, weirdly, but he ran the Scholar Bowl team, and he had all these resources that he would just get lists from other Scholar Bowl tournaments. He would get, I don't know, he just had so many things, and he just like, he ran it like a real team. We had like practice. We had meetings like 3 times a week or something. We did local tournaments. Like, it was crazy. We traveled to Nashville once, and this was in Kansas City. Like, we would take these long road trips to do competitive trivia.
That sounds awesome. It sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I mean, for nerdy shit, yeah. It was a good time.
Yeah. A good time in a Krellboyne way, yeah.
I was too busy hanging out with all the jocks, so I didn't get to do trivia.
I had a letter jacket from lettering in Scholar Bowl.
Nice.
I feel like that has more jock aura than Kenny's actual claim to jockhood.
Daniel, what is it about Matt Gertz's designs that inspire you?
It's another deep cut. Man, and I feel kind of removed from the Matt Gertz stuff at this point. Like, trick taking kind of took over. I used to be a big like Stefan Feld, Matt Gertz, Vital Lacerda guy, and now I don't know the last time I played any of those, honestly.
Wow.
Well, the good news is Matt Gertz probably has only come out with one game since you were removed from, because he takes his sweet time.
He does.
Which I appreciate. Like, he's, he's not just churning them out.
No, I really liked the kind of rondelle system he came up with, and just how he structured the games around those.
He's definitely
I just think they're super clever. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I had a Euro game released under his company.
Ooh, nice.
Which, like, there are very few other designers who got games out through PD for Log. That was very cool.
It's like a bucket list kind of moment there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Nice. Some rapid fire ones.
Sure.
The first Dismemberment Plan song that comes to mind, or album.
Oh, The City.
The City. Nice.
Yeah. I'm not even paying attention to me. I'm a little nervous now. Should I?
No. I did a bunch all at once to.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. I haven't been stalking you.
Okay. Good. No. I was really into the Dismemberment Plan. Yeah. Thanks. Changing the locks. In college, I got really into them. I got to see them live once when I was in college. Notable
Junji Ito short story that you recommend to folks, and you can't do the Amagara Pass one.
Oh God, I just picked up there's another volume of Junji Ito that just got published like last month. Which is very cool. Yeah, but the one that I always think of when somebody asks me, the one with like the balloon heads.
Oh yeah. The
you know
balloons
what I'm
that
talking
have
about?
Each person's head on them. Yeah,
that one is like chilling.
Yeah,
I love Junji Ito. So good.
All right, we're gonna go into the games we played. So
no more weird questions for me.
No more weird questions. Sorry, I've run out.
I think we've run out. Yeah.
I hope that was enjoyable.
No, it was. It was a little surprising.
Yeah. Is there a game that you've played recently? It doesn't have to be like super recently, but just recently that you want to shout out or talk about?
Does Magical Athlete count? The original was really old.
We had the same conversation, and we ruled that yes, it counts as long as you qualify. Like,
I've played the new one, and I had never played the original. But yeah, Magical Athlete, I had a lot of fun with, and I played it a number of times already with like different groups. Like, it's always one that you can kind of bring out and just kind of be goofy with. I think really the biggest thing is just the shock that it actually works as well as it does. It is as fun as it is. When like on paper, it should be miserable.
Yeah, it does have a lot of the DNA of like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, and then people play it and they enjoy it kind of thing.
You tell people about it. You're like, oh, I have this really silly roll and move game with like special powers that trigger when you roll certain numbers, and you're like, who are you, and what did you do with the guy I used to play games?
Yeah, and you're like, don't worry, it also has pass a turn and player elimination.
Oh yeah, you absolutely, yeah. But there's just something, I don't know, it's just silly fun. And like, as long as you embrace it and everybody like buys in, it's just like a great time.
we were talking about Conway's Game of Life recently, and it has a little bit of that vibe to it where like, there is decision making in the draft at the beginning, but then you're kind of seeing how the characters interact in this ecosystem.
Yeah, it just kind of plays out.
Yeah.
No, it's very true.
But that is enjoyable in and of itself. Like, it's kind of cool to see how they interact because of how interesting the interactions are.
Magical Athlete's an interesting case study in like the fun of games, because it's kind of like you said, it just hits people by surprise that a game that is like unbalanced. I mean, it has mechanics that a lot of people would consider outdated or, of ill repute, shall we say. And it's like clearly, I feel like it speaks a little bit to Richard Garfield's ability as, an established figure in the community to like recognize, genius when it's there and like pull even more out of it with this recent reprint, originally designed, I just want to say, by Takashi Ishida in 2003.
And it's such a cool kind of companion to Hot Streak, the other big CMYK silly game that came out. Yeah. It's also about racing that is not 20 years old at all, but also has that kind of, wow, this shouldn't work, but it really, really does.
I am a little confused by that. I don't know if like one of them was supposed to come out at a different time, but there was some.
Oh, why they came out at the same time? That is funny. Yeah, I don't know what's going on over at CMYK. They have a lot of irons and a lot of fires.
Yeah, like they're sabotaging their own market share.
I don't know though. Like they're very clever, and they are not necessarily targeting like hardcore board gamers as their market. Like they really want to get into mass market, and mass market doesn't care who the publisher is at all. You know, they're looking and there's a weird game on the shelf, so they wouldn't even necessarily know that those two are from the same publisher or have anything to do with each other.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Did you see they're doing a game show?
No, are they?
Yeah, one of the major broadcast companies licensed a CMYK game show. So I don't think it's coming out anytime soon, but they're going to be doing something.
Oh, that's wild. I know someone who like scouts games for CMYK. I should ask him about that.
I know Wolfgang Warsch is involved, and I don't know if it's going to be like a brand new series of games or if they're going to incorporate existing CMYK titles or something.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I know that like they did Wavelength, right?
Yeah.
CMYK, which is very kind of, I can see that.
Yeah, I think
I remember he did tell me about this before, that they have like a handful of games that they're doing like game show versions of. Board
games are cool now, and I think Tom and I have been struggling with that. We're definitely getting into like gatekeepy territory. We've got like what is it, like the Timberwolves just announced that they're sponsored by Catan, and
that's
I saw that.
You just got to go into like the more obscure, nerdier stuff. Like go to Japan twice a year and like come back with games that nobody's heard of. That's how you keep up.
Is this the time, though? Is it time to stop bullshitting?
Actually get into the topic.
Meat and potatoes of the episode, the part of the show that people actually care about and listen to. The real meat and potatoes part of the episode. Everything is trick-taking. I don't know who came up with this prompt, if that was you or if that was Kenny. Okay. A little joke we like to tell on the show is that it's trick-taking. If it's a card game and I've played it, I'll probably call it a trick-taking game. When it's not really. So where do you line up? Are you hyper inclusive with the term, or do you feel as if it's a very strict definition?
I'm so deep into it at this point. Like I have to be pedantic about it just because of like who I talk about it with, right? Like I have to be specific because my customer base is very specific. I will sometimes lump in climbing shedding games with trick taking.
That's something we'll talk about, yeah.
For people who aren't super into it. But I'll often say like trick taking or climbing shedding games. Like I'll just say all of it because I just like, I feel like I've trained myself to.
Just dump the whole mouthful out there.
Yeah.
I did take some notes. I went back and listened to some of our older episodes, and I noted some of the most buck wild claims that you've done.
Oh no.
So just for Daniel to get some context. So the very first time that you've committed this sin was in the first episode of our show. You said Scout is a trick taker. And then I instantly was like, well, it's kind of a shed. And you're like, yeah, potato.
That's one that'll kind of be like, okay, I guess you can call
and
it
that was relatively tame.
Yeah.
I've learned the difference since, but I just love to ignore the difference.
Well, and you're not alone. Like a lot of people assume because they're like cousins, climbing, shedding, and trick taking.
Yeah.
I usually say. So
Instantly, 2 episodes later, you said that Brass Lancashire is basically has trick-taking elements.
Okay, that's nonsense.
Now, was I saying that with sincerity? Like, what
because it has cards? Is that why? There are cards in it. It's a trick-taking game.
You said with a straight face, it's reminiscent of Trick Takers, and then I said, Tom, please, and then you started laughing.
I'm trying to think why I had that thought, because I'm not regenerating it at the moment.
You're playing cards and you're going around the table. I don't know, Tom. I don't understand. Okay, and then way later you said with a straight face that Monopoly Deal was a trick taker, which is like 2 memes converging on themselves.
That's pretty good.
Have you played Monopoly Deal?
I have not. I've heard that it's like one of the more tolerable versions of Monopoly.
I would argue it's like slightly above tolerable. It's like actually decent. Like,
okay.
I'm not. We like to kind of joke that you should go out of your way to play this game, which makes it sound like it's a Michelin 2-star card game. But it's more like
it's not.
Yeah, it's more like it would get like a footnote in a Michelin appendix or something like that.
Gotcha.
The idea that Monopoly Deal is a trick-taking game is absurd, obviously, but I love that I said that.
Well, I think at this point you're kind of leaning into it, Tom. So
I'm on a Discord with a bunch of other designers and just folks who enjoy card games, and we have a running bit that basically any climbing shedding game is Uno.
Just Uno with extra steps.
Yeah, and it kind of started actually from me on an interview. Trying to explain what a climbing shedding game to somebody was when they were not familiar with that term. And I was like, well, you've played Uno, right? That's a shedding game. Like the goal is to get rid of your cards. And then I got such endless shit from the folks in this Discord.
I think it's a good analogy for folks who aren't familiar.
If you've never played, like Uno is a place to start. Like that is a game where the goal is to get rid of your cards. And that's what shedding is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Climbing is when you're trying to play combinations that are higher than the previous. And now you understand what climbing shedding is.
I think the goal for this conversation is to get your takes and maybe come to kind of a consensus on what are the characteristics of a trick taker versus a climber shedder versus a card game. I think those are the 3 ones we want to touch on. This was a big conversation that we had in our Discord. So some of the patrons talked quite to length about this, and you know what is one versus the other, where do you make a distinction, things like that.
You want me to just jump into it?
Yeah, like for you, what is a trick taker? Like what is necessary for a trick taking game?
So I will say this with the caveat that there's always exceptions,
of course. Yeah,
especially in like the Japanese trick taking scene, where like they have a regular kind of gathering where they're like, is this a trick taker? Where they try to like push those boundaries as much as possible.
Isn't that Taiki Shinzawa's whole thing? He's pretty much like, hey,
he definitely likes to push, and I kind of take cues from that as well when I'm designing stuff. I want to try to like do something that hasn't been done with trick taking. But there are folks that like you play one of these games and is like, is this even like, can you consider this a trick taker? Does it have enough DNA to be considered a trick taker? So for me, like when I look at a game and I'm like, is this especially as it compares to climbing shedding, trick taking, typically everybody plays a card in turn order, and then you evaluate who won. And that winner either gets all those cards, or they get some subset of those cards, or something else happens, right? But it's these mini rounds that then get added up into a game. Okay. And that's kind of the skeleton of trick taking.
Yeah. So the atom of trick taking is that each player plays a single card. Is that the differentiation? No, it's not always a single card, I would imagine. Actually,
it's not always. I would say that, like I said, like, you know, the vast majority is everybody plays one card. You then evaluate who won that trick, and then that person gets something, and then usually leads the next trick. And then you play a series of those.
If the lead is not there, is it still trick taking? I assume so. Right?
I mean, somebody has to start. You could have a game where everybody plays simultaneously and then flips and you evaluate. And that, to me, is a little questionable, whether that's a trick taking game or not. I would say you could probably, depending on what else is going on, it could be.
What if you can what if you can play outside of the lead suit?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's there's subdivisions within trick taking. Must follow is kind of your standard. You've got may follow, which allows you to either follow or not. Usually if you don't, then you're not going to win the trick, but it allows you to play other things and sculpt your hand. You've got must not follow, where you can't play what the lead player played. And there's different levels of restrictions on that as well. And those are all kind of subdivisions of kind of standard trick taking. But really, like if you boil it down, a trick taking game is everybody around the table plays one card in turn order. And even that can be messed with, but generally. And then you resolve it. And then you play a series of those tricks. That's kind of what I would boil down trick taking to at its most basic. Climbing, shedding, typically, again, lots of exceptions, the goal is to get rid of your hand. Whereas in trick taking, you're typically playing, everybody is getting rid of their cards at the same time. And you're not trying to like race to get rid of your hand. In climbing, shedding, typically you are trying to get rid of your cards first. With climbing games, you need to play something that will be higher than what was previously played. There's all sorts of permutations with playing sets or runs or, all sorts of things. And the other big distinction between climbing, shedding, and trick taking is typically you're playing in a much longer round where you keep going around the table until everybody can't play and they pass. It's tricky. Sometimes we'll call that a trick, even though it could be several times around the table.
Right. Yeah.
But that's the big distinction to me between climbing, shedding, and trick taking. Is trick taking is you have several little rounds. Climbing, shedding, you could have very long rounds that add up to a game, and it's not over until somebody is out of cards. Again, typically, a lot of exceptions.
We recently did an episode about this book called Characteristics of Games, and they talk about like the timing of different parts of a game. Yeah. And the atom is like the smallest individually digestible chunk of a game. I think it's interesting that we call it a trick on the shedding side, even though it's not necessarily a trick, but like everybody knows what you mean when you say that. And it almost feels like that's
not really a good word for it.
The shed, if you will.
Because, or a play. Like there's, I know you're joking, but like it's tricky to come up with a good name for that.
Maybe you could call it the Shrek. It's like...
Sure, yeah. I'll propose that to the council, and I'll get back to you.
See if that one catches on.
Yeah.
So there was some mental gymnastics in the Discord, but one interesting conversation that came up is, why is poker not a trick-taking game?
Why is poker not a trick-taking?
This one hurt my brain, so that's why I'm asking you.
there are no tricks. It's more of a set collection game, really.
Can't you say it's one big trick, though?
But a trick implies that there's a series of those, right?
I guess
within the same hand. Whereas poker is all that's one hand.
Yeah, there's no hand management in poker. You kind of just play what you're dealt.
Well, what about something like there are variants of poker where you can change what's in your hand to some degree.
Well, like 5-card draw is still because I grew up. That's what we played when we were sitting around playing cards.
We just invented a game. You put out a river, and you get multiple cards, and you bet, and then you play out 2 of the cards in your hand to form a poker hand. But you still have to play the other cards and follow up tricks, and you deal a new river. Holy moly!
Yeah, wait. If you had a 5-card river, everyone gets dealt the rest of the cards in the deck or whatever, right? But in maybe with a modular deck, so that it's maybe a little different. And then you're then you're forming the best poker hand, but you have to do that multiple times, and then each one is like a trick, and you actually have to win more than one round if you can. I don't know.
Something
if there's that
here.
much
We're
to
cooking.
That.
We're
maybe.
cooking. And it needs to cook a little longer, but Daniel's not impressed.
I think I'm just gonna let you guys cook. I mean, I would say poker has more in common with climbing games in that you're forming melds, right?
Right.
With your hand, and you want to have the best meld. But there's no following. It's just a different system. There's lots of different systems. There's rummy games. There's betting games, which is a thing which has nothing to do with like making bets.
Have you played any trick taking where there's also betting involved? Because that sounds like it would be up my alley.
I'm sure I have.
And not like just like bidding on how many tricks you'll get. More like...
Right. I mean, that's a standard thing, right? No, I don't think so.
Interesting.
Well, actually, there was a game that came out last year. I don't remember if it was I think it was 2 game markets ago, called wait, hold on, let me look it up. Oh, it's called Chohan Trick Taking Game.
Oh, okay.
And it does, there is gambling involved. It's actually based on like a Chinese gambling game. Yeah, Chohan Trick Taking Game from PAX Guild.
This looks like an old game.
No, all their packaging looks kind of
like classical.
old. They use the same, they use these like kind of paper boxes.
I like that.
It was interesting, but not one I felt like I needed to play again.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of this publisher does that. They come up with really interesting ideas that maybe aren't amazing games, but are definitely worth playing at least once. And they've done some weird stuff. There's one called Roulette Taking, which is fascinating.
Oh.
Also, actually has some betting. You're kind of trying to guess what the last card to win a trick will be, but you're placing when you win a trick, you get to place a bet on the roulette table. At the end of the game, whatever card wins the last trick will pay out.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's some rough edges on that one, but it's a really cool design.
It's a cool concept, yeah.
Yeah. And they did another one based on billiards, which was also like, I see what they're doing here. I don't know if it works.
They're just taking each existing game and
so like, yeah, I appreciate when they're playing around with that's what's so cool about the Japanese market, is that there are folks who are just like willing and eager to experiment way more than you see, I think, in the American market. Everybody's worried about getting their game on shelves.
With a lower production cost too and a lower print run, you can kind of experiment. So that's the cool thing about
Absolutely.
it.
And do they have like public funding, like a Ministry of Gaming or something like that? I think they do, don't they?
That I don't know.
I don't think so.
I could have sworn, because there was a random fun fact just came back to my mind, that Magic the Gathering at some point dedicated a one-of-a-kind, like a one-of-one printed dragon card, like literally back in the 90s. And it was to Japan's, I think at the time, it was like the Ministry of Gaming. But I don't know if that ministry is still intact.
There's the Agency of Cultural Affairs, but I don't know if they fund board gaming stuff.
I haven't heard anybody talk about it. And I know a lot of folks they talk about how expensive it is to kind of get these small runs done. So
yeah,
I would be surprised if that was something that was readily available anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they do fund board games generally.
I'm going to put this link in the chat, but for future reference, but it's called the Shichifukujin Dragon. It's literally a one-of-one like magic card that was basically just made for promotional culture exchange in like 1996. It was presented to the DCI Tournament Center. That's where it was originally given. And I think it's still held somewhere in like essentially a museum or public building.
It's like in Post Malone's pantry or something, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like the One Ring card they did with the Lord of the Rings magic.
It's the original, in a way.
Ring. Can't wait till they print the second ring. And the first one will just shoot down in value.
Completely devalue it. Yeah.
That would be so funny, actually.
That would be, it'd be scuffed.
Yeah, we decided to print 500 more of them.
Yeah.
We heard how much you loved the One Ring.
There you go.
Now it's the 500 rings. We've talked about the overlap, or I guess the general grouping of shedding and trick-taking games. One thing that drives me personally nuts is when I go, oh, it's kind of in the like shedding, trick-taking, it's like you have to use so many words. And a lot of that was just me going, you know what I mean? But like, is there a word? Can we, and if not, can we make one up here? Can we like finally bury this?
One up? I don't know, man. So many people want that specificity because they want to know what they're getting into. But that's within like when you're really into those games. Who are we talking to is the question.
So this is less for somebody asking about a specific game and more like when you're a podcaster and you're talking about games that fit in this space, but you don't want to narrow it down to just trick takers or shedders, for example. Just a hypothetical scenario. This has never happened to us ever.
Card games always works if you don't need specificity.
Card games too big because then you include things like Monopoly Deal or like Exploding Kittens, and I would say those are card games,
right?
Or even something like Innovation, right? Like I wouldn't put that in the same category.
I don't know. In Japan, they have a word dojin, which doesn't necessarily mean card games, but is like more hobby, like handmade hobby games, or like small run. Basically what you see at Tokyo Game Market.
Would Nana be considered a dojin, though?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Because I don't think that's a shedder or a trick taker. I mean, it's close to a shedder, but it's not quite.
Dojin more is about like the culture in which it was produced than anything else.
It's fandom culture. I've heard this term before with manga. Like it's a dojinshi if it's essentially a fan-made manga.
It's like a zine. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more about like indie creation culture. So less to do with those specific games. But in Japan, like those would cover these trick-taking games and climbing games at Tokyo Game Market are considered dojin games. But that's also not very specific. It's more about like the cultural origin of it.
Yeah, we need one that's smaller than card game, but specifically it is a trick taker or a shedder climber, and that's it. It's just that blanket. Is there like a portmanteau we can do?
Well, what is common about both of them that isn't true about other? I mean, there's something kind of cyclical, right? You play them in rounds.
They both have that concept, that atomic level of the trick, even if you don't call it a trick, where somebody's going to pick up the cards at a certain point, and the point is different for both of them.
And even within each of them, there's a lot of differences.
Both have a hand of cards that you play through. This is one thing that the Discord noted. You have a hand of cards that you have at the beginning and you play through it. Because like if you think of like Exploding Kittens, you're like drawing a card and playing a card. You're typically not like having the entire thing at your disposal. But then Nana, you do, so I don't know. The definition starts to fall apart.
So you want something that only talks about trick-taking and climbing and not any of these adjacent games like Nana or Monopoly Deal. That's tough, man. I don't know. Any word you're going to come up with is you're going to have to explain anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean by that? It's like trick-taking and climbing games. Why didn't you just say that? Just get really good at saying it fast.
It's cool enough,
if we invent it now, then we can become
get it on the ground floor.
Richard Dawkins and famous for inventing one word and hopefully nothing else.
Well, I wish you the best of luck in this pursuit, but I do not think I have any contribution. If it's not board gamers, if I'm talking to like my mother-in-law's friend, I say card. I make card games. Okay. Because they're not going to know the difference necessarily. But if it's within board game folks, I'll say like, yeah, mostly trick taking. And then if they play trick taking, I was like, yeah, also, some climbing shedding games. Okay. If I feel like that specificity is necessary. With most people, like saying trick taking also covers like 80%.
Why do I notice that you seem to really enjoy skulls as a motif?
Okay. That is a long history. So, Dead Man's Cabal, which was like my first big published game, is basically just a box of plastic skulls. And that started out as a kind of goof. I wanted to design a game called Necromancer's Tea Party, which just seemed like a weird, like a really goofy, like combination of things. Right. And then as it evolved, the Tea Party thing fell away. And then I was calling it Dead Man's Party, like the Oingo Boingo song. Nice. And then the publisher changed it to Dead Man's Cabal. So then that was like the first game I think that I got a lot more recognition for. And then I just kind of embraced it. And I was like, yeah, skulls look cool. And then I just kind of like got into skulls. Although I feel like I backed off it a bit recently.
I was going to say, do you feel like you've started to exit that phase?
I don't know. I have a lot of skulls in my house now. So it's kind of hard. Some are fake, some are like actual animal skulls that I bought at like science stores. You can get like rabbit skulls, and I think of a beaver and a rabbit and a raccoon.
Do you have the Dan Aykroyd vodka?
No, Crystal Skull vodka. No.
Yeah.
But I have a large collection of like just plastic skulls and stuff too. CVS after Halloween for cheap. Or
yeah. I assume you must be seething a little bit that the game Skull is like out there and it's not yours.
No, it's fine. It's fine. There are a few games. There was a game that came in a plastic skull. Oh. Which is pretty rad. I forget the name of it. I've got on my skull shelf.
That's cool.
The only other game I can think of that has like skulls in it that I really wish I could eat is Zolkin.
Oh yeah, those are good.
The candy blue skulls.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
You gotta stop eating pieces, Tom. I feel like this.
There's a whole. There's a board game geek list about games with forbidden candy. Yeah. All the games that have things in them that you want to eat but shouldn't. Like Azul is a big one, and
Tom has a chewed in piece of Azul from whatever used copy you got.
It looks like someone tried to like take a bite and like My girlfriend is giving me so much crap for that because it's
That's amazing.
She's like, there's no fucking way someone's jaw could like actually do that.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, the tooth would have broken first.
No,
and
it's
I'm
probably
just like,
manufacturing error.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be funny in like 10 years when like whatever comes after Gen Alpha like grows up, discovers the Board Game Geek forum, and then actually creates a viral trend where they are in fact trying to eat the pieces like they did with the Tide Pods.
The Tide Pod
hilarious.
challenge.
Bring that one back around.
Me when I eat the Everdell berries.
Yeah. I found the game I was thinking it was called Skulk.
What is it called?
And it comes in this, it's called Skulk. I dropped it in the Discord.
So they were like, check it out. I got a game that comes in a skull. And then they were like, oh no, there was a popular game called Skull. And then they looked at their keyboard.
It comes in a low poly bronze skull.
That's cool.
And then there's like marbles that determine things when they come out.
I'm looking at it.
It's kind of interesting, actually.
It's like, almost got like Pez dispenser, it seems. Yeah.
Yeah, you open the mouth and that's the marble color.
That's really neat.
There's some like area control or something. I don't remember exactly. But it was fun for what it was.
And hey, look, it's from 2019, so I don't even have to issue the new game alert on this one.
There you go.
You can go try it out. It's officially shelf stable. Prospero Hall. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I mean, Dead Man's Cabal is that old also.
Yeah.
That's
came out
true.
2019, same year.
Daniel, we got one more for you.
All right, do it.
Card game. Where is the boundary for that? Not all games with cards are card games. So how do we define card game?
It's really tricky because I can always think of exceptions, right? But primarily, I would not call it a card game if there's a very large board. I might call it a card game if there is a small board that helps you organize the cards, but not if there's anything else going on.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you can conceptually play the game without the board, I would still call it a card game myself, like Ascension, for example.
What if you need the board, but it's a very, very minor part?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, is I think as long as it's minimal, more for organization than for actual gameplay.
Because like Jekyll versus Hyde, you need the board.
Oh, that's true. That's like a track, right?
Yeah.
That's fine. That's definitely, that's a trick-taking game.
Yeah.
But is it a card game? You're saying it is a card game. I would say it's a card game. Board in it, not a board game.
Are there any trick-taking games that aren't card games?
Yes. There are a couple.
Mino Dice?
Mino Dice is just dice.
It's just dice.
It's based on Skull King, which is a card game, but it's just dice. There's definitely there are dice-based trick takers. There are a couple of trick takers from Japan from a while ago, one of which I'm actually going to be publishing a new edition of in February or March. I haven't decided yet, which is now cards, but originally was wooden cubes that you draw out of a bag, which is kind of nuts.
What's the name of that one? Or is it something you're...
One of them is Mantle by Taiki Shinzawa. And then the other one is called Exultate Deo, The Fluffy Right, which I'm going to be redoing as just The Fluffy Right.
Okay.
You think the name's great? Wait till you see the art.
Ooh.
I will find a link. So the theme, which I am not changing because it's amazing, is, hold on, I'll just read it. The players are craftsmen at a teddy bear factory, essentially, and make teddy bears to offer to the god Lord Teddy. The best teddy bear is offered to Lord Teddy, and the craftsman who's created that teddy receives a trophy. The aim is to receive the highest number of trophies. This is the original game. What happens is, in the original game, you're playing two cubes, and basically the top cube is the lead color, and the bottom cube is just like essentially the rank in that color. It's a little different than that. And then whoever wins takes the top cube, essentially ripping the head off the teddy bear, and keeps that as a trophy. And all the other cubes go in the center, and everybody drafts them, and then a bunch get kicked out.
I love it. I'm a sucker for like a little story at the beginning of the rules that is like absurd enough, but like gives you a feel for the game. I love that stuff.
Instead of the cubes, I had my son actually draw. He's 16. I had him draw a bunch of teddy bears in weird kind of costumes or whatever, and then figure out a way to do the cards so that a card could be the top of the bear or the bottom of the bear. And then you actually you're pulling the head off and flipping it over, where in the back there's just a decapitate, like just the head with stuffing coming out the bottom, as you keep for your trophy. And then I tweaked the win condition a bit, so you want to be the second most, not the most, because it adds a little extra strategy. But yeah, so that one did start out as no cards. It was just cubes, but it was a trick-taking game.
Nice.
But I would call it a card game, even though it used cubes instead of cards. It satisfies everything else that makes it a card game to me.
So that's the interesting part.
Oh,
Even though there's no cards, it's still a card game because in spirit, it's cards.
Except for that one thing that it's not.
So Trick Taker is not characteristics.
I consider trick-taking games generally to be a subset of card games.
Okay. Going back to card games, are you familiar with Summoner Wars?
Familiar, yes. I don't know that I've played it, but I know of it. Yeah.
So I can briefly give you an idea so you can maybe ascertain whether you would consider it or not. It plays on a chess-like board, but each square on the board is a card.
Okay.
You assemble a deck kind of like a Magic the Gathering or something like that, and then draw a starting hand. And those cards are cards that you can play to the board in like the starting row and then move around on the board. So there's like a positional aspect. In many ways, it plays like a minis game, but then you're also drawing the minis from a deck.
I'd say that's a card game. Are there special abilities or anything on the board spaces, or is it just a grid?
Typically, no. I mean, you can add cards that have special abilities.
It's all cards then. It's all on the cards. Yeah. You could draw your grid on your table or use tape or something, but you're just playing a card game. Yeah, that's a card game.
The argument against it, just to give, because I agree with you, right? But the argument against it was that you could hypothetically have a bag of minis, like a bag of HeroClix characters or something,
and use those on the board.
And then you randomly draw one when you would draw a card, and then those get placed on the board.
There's actually a game called The Duke, which plays a lot more like chess, but every piece is pulled out of a bag and they're just flat square tiles.
Yep. And I think most folks would say that's not a card game. So is it strictly the medium that is at play in this particular aspect?
Well, with Summoner Wars, there's a lot of information on those cards too, right?
True,
like it's not just... The Duke is an abstract.
Okay.
Yeah, each piece has information on it, though.
In terms of how it acts, but it's not like... I would still call that an abstract game. Yeah.
I think for me, the reason that I consider Duke not a card game and Summoner Wars a card game outside of the medium itself was that there are cards in Summoner Wars that function strictly as cards, that have like abilities that you play from hand, and also that you're managing a hand. If Summoner Wars was strictly, you had a deck of cards on the side, you could pick any one of them, or there weren't ones in there that had the sole purpose of being an event or like an ability that you trigger. They were all minis in function. I think I could see an argument for saying it's a minis game disguised as a card game.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have a game where like the majority of the information needed to play the game is on the cards, then I would call that a card game. And I don't think I would overthink it.
Yeah,
beyond
that makes sense.
See, but we're all about trying to overthink it on this show.
Yeah, we were pretty much. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think we've learned something by now. So should I wrap us up?
I think we can wrap it up. Yeah, I think we've yapped long enough, as you say, Tom.
Thank you, everyone out there, for listening to this. Thank you especially to Michael, Tyler, Devin, and Josh, the Boise Rainbows. Thank you to Bonehouse for letting us use your song "Rot" as our opening theme. Daniel, this is your section to plug anything you want.
Oh, man. Okay. I have like 20 games up for sale on newmillindustries.com. A lot of them are taking up space in my dining room, so I'd love for you guys to buy some. Weird trick-taking games and climbing shedding games. Some of them are even on sale. There's a bunch for pre-order right now. Sorry, I'm just shilling. I apologize.
This is great. But, people are underutilizing this.
Yeah. I want to sell you guys some rad games that you'll enjoy. If you like trick-taking, there's a lot of stuff to choose from. I'll also be going to Japan very soon. I'll be getting on a plane to Japan the day this comes out, which is cool. And when I come back, I'm going to have a bunch of stuff to sell from Tokyo Game Market, which is always fun. And be sure to check out the Indie Games Night Market at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah.
On the Saturday, the 22nd, I want to say. Yeah. Saturday the 22nd at 7 p.m. outside the Vendors Hall after the Vendors Hall closes. A lot of really cool indie games, some of them handmade, all of them low print run. Cool stuff you'll never see again, unless it gets published, which sometimes happens.
There's some really cool ones like Rowan. Dan Thoreau just did a bit on Rowan.
Yeah, Dan Thoreau just did a really cool write-up. That one looks rad. I'm really sad I'm not going to be there and I won't actually see them. And I'm hoping, I told folks, because we have a little Discord thing going, I said if anybody wants to put one aside for me, that would be awesome. But don't feel obligated. Like, I know some people are coming with like 20 copies and I don't want to make you give me one if, I want you to sell them to folks who are there. So.
Yeah, I was talking to Marceline. I really want to try.
Yes.
Heavenly Body.
Marceline has been helping a lot. She's going to kind of be the point person there in my stead since I'm not going to be able to make
cool.
it. And she's also local to Brooklyn. She's like a neighborhood or two away from me. So we meet up every once in a while.
Shout out to Marceline Lyman.
What you're hoping to come back to, though, is that all the stuff that's currently on your table has been ordered so that all the stuff you're bringing back from Japan now has space.
Exactly. That stuff usually goes real fast, like within minutes. Wow. I bring back about 200 games. I tell folks when I come back what they are and when I'm going to be posting them on sale. And they're typically like 80% sold within 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you are interested, make sure to subscribe to the email newsletter, because that's how I announce stuff. I'll also say it on Blue Sky, DNLNWMN at Blue Sky.
If you're loving the cast, share it with a friend or on Reddit or on BGG. You can also reach out to us directly at shelfstablecast@gmail.com. All this and more available in the show notes. Daniel, it was a pleasure having you.
Yeah, this was a blast. I had a really good time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.
We like to have the guest pick from a few topics as far as what we talk about next.
I think you should do games so unique, they're their own genre.
All right, I guess that's what we'll do. And for those of you that are following our book club, just read chapter 2 and we'll get to it eventually.
At some point. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
See ya.